No, we can't.
I'm putting my screen up, but then something goes wrong here.
It's not.
Not working. This is a pity. Let's see how this works now. I have to escape then because I see my screen perfectly. Only the tool doesn't allow me in. Let's see. Share. It doesn't give. What I do? Can I send the presentation to you that you put it up? It only gives warnings.
Yeah,
There it is.
You can send it.
Yeah, I think I have now. It is a new Zoom version, so my apologies for this. Uh-huh. Uh-oh. I come in and out in the meeting. Then I put my settings different. So I'll be back. Apologies again. Mm-hmm. I am back and I'm going to share my screen. Can you please allow me to share my screen?
Can you try to share your screen now, Marian?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Now I'm doing well. Now you see my presentation. I'm so happy. And again, apologies for for this inconvenience. So I like to bring you to the topic that insect production is small, simple, and significant, especially when you use waste for animal production to make insects, to feed later to your insects. Also, what can happen? You can use it as feed, for instance, crickets. I will touch a bit upon that. And I'm also happy that I saw my colleague John Amole is there. He can also answer questions from the Nigerian side. He's always on the floor in Nigeria. So I'm really happy that you invited me, that we're part of the Waste for Meal project, and together we can make a revolution happen. That's where, for my case, it's all about. What is happening in the insect world, it's new. And many companies who start up are a bit secretive. That's not what we want to do with NGN. NGN actually means New Generation Nutrition, and it's probably also a bit connected to the Nigerian Naira, because we all want you to earn some pennies, some Nairas, let's say it that way. We want to get the buck in the system, and it's doing by sharing. And we share in this way. We support our knowledge, we share our knowledge, supporting individual businesses, but also work on creating an enabling environment. For instance, in Ibadan, we started the Insects for Feed Impact Cluster, and still it is the incubation building and all the facilities are available for newcomers in this world. And the Waste for Meal project is part of this. It's a spin-off of the Insects for Feed Impact Cluster. And then, of course, what you already hear, we share not only knowledge, we create networks, partnerships, as well in the Netherlands as global. I'm now at the moment in Colombia, where we start up an impact cluster like we have in Nigeria. very proud of it and happy to share that with you. In my eyes, this is the opportunity. Chicken are really happy when you feed them with insects, as you see on this picture. And at the same time, these eggs can go to the stores with a story. In the Netherlands, these eggs are way more expensive than let's say, the common eggs. And why? Because the story is told and the marketing around it is these chicken eat insects. That's more sustainable than feeding them with soy or fish meal. So we really like this proposition. It's what chicken eat in nature. Also fish do this, and other animals like pigs. And what we saw during the project, feeding your production animals with black soldier flies, it brings down the cost of production with 30%. At least when you do self-mixing and you leave compound feed. More examples are available there, and John can tell you way more about this. And at NGN, we do work together, and our basis is mainly in the Netherlands and Belgium. We work with all sorts of knowledge institutions, mainly universities and universities of applied science. We give them assignments, and this is how our knowledge backbone is being founded. So we have a sort of feed in this knowledge agenda, but also we bring this knowledge, what is from science, into practice. And then you see the European Commission and all sorts of, and the Dutch government, they are our funders mainly. This is what I like about insects. You can make the circle in nature. Actually, what I show here is a sort of nutrient cycle. And we call it nowadays, we call this circular economy. We can use manure, we can use organic matter to for a bioconversion on large scale with insects. Then we have two products out of that. That's the insect, where we can make a protein out of it, a protein-based powder, but also we can make the fatty acids we can extract from it, and then we can put it as a feed ingredient. We can straight put it in, use it as food, and we can also feed them alive to many animals, and then you do not even need processing. And then there is the other part of what's the leftover, the rest substrate. I'll show you later how insects are reared. This frass can be used for horticulture. And what we see nowadays more and more, that the frass is probably even a higher value product than proteins for animals. What you see now, what's happening, everything still is in the world of academia. The research on organic side streams, the animal feed, how much can you include, what is the inclusion level, what do we do with the black shoulder fly larvae? You see the BSF waste stream, we call it that frass. That is a biofertilizer. We can work on economic development of smallholder farmers. That's where loads of research is about. I'm here in a region now in Colombia. What was in the participation in conflicts. So now this is a new economic opportunity. So societal development is there. The task of NGN is bringing this science into practice. We do sector development. We create insect farms, provide trainings together with waste for meal and technical support. And in this way, we create an ecosystem where entrepreneurship can thrive. And why entrepreneurship and not entrepreneurship? Because the science behind of insects is called entomology. So we call it now entrepreneurship. Insect production is on a higher level worldwide. It is addressing many macroeconomic trends. It is to feed the world population, and at the same time, this world population need to feed themselves. Some of them are becoming way, way more richer, and then they start to eat more proteins. And these animals need to be fed. And at the same time, we have all sorts of climate change in the world. And insects, we know, do have a low carbon footprint. So that's part of the research what's done. And we're really happy to make you part of this movement, what we are creating here. How do we do so at NGN? And also we did in the impact cluster. We do part on entrepreneurial skills. Let's say the incubation program from conception to a sustainable business case. And we work also together with partners, because we cannot do it on our own, on technical skills. First, what you're doing now, the collection of general information. We create awareness about the insect production and value chain. And later we have a basic course on insect production. And then you start your own basic insect production with hands-on support on site. Or what we can do is do that in the demo farms of waste for, you start in waste for meal demo farms, or with at NGN and UI in Ibadan. We work throughout this process on building your business case based on own data. We start up farmer groups where we do in-depth insight sharing and excursions, but also value chain development. For instance, the last cohort we had in Ibadan, they started their own cooperation to do the processing, to do the purchasing of materials and equipment. So I think this is the way we work to a scaling plan, but also to a viable business case together. I like to also to share who are our favorite subjects. In the Netherlands, we do a lot on beetle larvae, mealworms, and the other one, the middle one, is the buffalo worm, and then there is the morio worm, the Sophobias morio. These worms, they typically feed on dry substrates. They have jaws, so they can eat that. In the middle, you see the fly larva. Up on top, our hero, the black solifly, and then the Musca domestica, that's the common housefly. And the other one is a blowfly who eats slaughterhouse waste. On the right side, you see the crickets and the locusts. And I can tell you, in Nigeria, locusts do really well. We have already bread on the market with locust in it. And it appears that the bread stays fresh 3 days longer. So the shelf life is extended. So these are our heroes where we talk about. And mainly today, this is the waste. On top, in the middle, that's the black soldier who is a good waste converter. And what you see here, this is the nice part when you talk about business. It is the short cycle mini livestock, they call it. You see on the left side, I have a question. Can you see my pointer when I use it?
Yes, I can see your pointer.
Oh, that's good, because that's helpful. When we are talking about insects, it's mainly that we talk from egg to larva. This is where we harvest. And what you see here with this beetle, it is from egg to larva. It is not right here, but it takes 9 weeks before harvesting. Then you keep a little apart. That will be the parent stock for the next generation. The black soldier is doing way faster. We like to harvest it from egg to larva is around 13 to 18 days, depending on the circumstances you have. The other one, here you see a locust, but the cricket we rear in Nigeria, we can harvest them in 4.5 weeks. And that goes steadily that way. So that's it's good. And the cricket, I will go into that a little later, because there's a simple system what costs you only 1 hour a day to get yield already. And what you see, I'm here now in Colombia, exactly here. And the weather is very good here. At the moment, it's 30 degrees Celsius, and that's what insects like. And what you see all around the equator, the insects are farmed or are available. This is from research. I see that somebody put up a hand. So if you have a question, please ask.
No question.
No question, okay. The good thing is you are in the right region to start your insect rearing. You don't have to invest like we have to do in the Netherlands in the moderate climates up here. You have to invest there heavily in isolated rooms, in heating equipment. So it costs loads of energy to rear these insects, because the insects you saw, they're mostly subtropical or tropical, and you're living in that environment. That's the good news. Here you see an insect farm we've started up. These are mealworms in here. So in 9 weeks, each crate here gives 2.5 kg of mealworms, 2 to 2.5. And when you see, it's all stacked. So all these crates, and what you also see, all life stages are in it. It's a batch-wise system. I come back to this later. Here you see cricket farming in the Netherlands at Alpe Insecta. Each of these crates give 8 kilos in 4.5 weeks. And when you know the price in the Netherlands is 28 euros, and it's around $28 per kg, it's good business, but you don't need too much competitors. Otherwise, the prices will drop down immediately. Here you see also locust farming and cricket farming in Germany. What you also see, it's very clean in there. It's very hygienic. And that's quite good, because when they escape, you can see them going and you can get them in. Here you see a farm in the Netherlands, and it's a bit how you can farm them in Africa. This is a tunnel greenhouse, and in Ibadan we do have a screen house. And what you also see here is the tanks for feed. You see many crates, and this is why I wanted to show this picture. It's really logistic what's happening, because each age are in one of these rows, and you need to know how much you can feed them and when they need to be harvested. And that's quite a how can I say it? That's quite a logistic and also logical system, although these animals do not scream when they're hungry. So you need to be a good caretaker for them. That's what I like to emphasize here. And then you see it fully automated. Oh, sorry. The fully automated system. And what we see now, this is fully automated, is worldwide not working very well, because it's the first generation of equipment what they're using. And this is very capital intensive to get a return on investment. Here you see a small scale cricket rearing system. Why do I show this? Because this is a system what is really easy. You have the parent stock and hatchery in 10 crates. It's a 30 crate system. It's a 3-day procedure, and it will cost you 1 to 1.5 hours a day. It's a source of extra income, and we are really happy that we did this in Akure with Springboard Cooperation, and they bring now the bread on the market and it appeared that people are waiting in line for the bread with crickets. And why? It's not only nutrition, it is because it has a longer shelf life. We're now researching what is the principle behind it, why is this happening? Because then we can fully claim and say crickets are a shelf life. It's a sort of preservative for the bread. So then it has a higher value. We really like to do that. Here you see a somewhat larger insect farm. It's more crates, and the way we want to go here is also more in specialization, that we divide the value chain, that we have a sort of breeding company and around it 100 outgrowers. So a nucleus farm, they call it. We like this idea to do so, that you have one farm who is reproducing the crickets, and then the others are fattening it, and you get it back to a processing center, like what Springboard Cooperation is doing. And here I think that's the opportunity, the main opportunity. Use waste, agricultural waste, as substrates for insects for feed and food, or worms. That's the other option. Worms are really good for soil, and the worm fertilizer is packed with eggs of these worms, so they will revive the soils again. So that's another option next to the crickets and the black soldier fly larvae. We call it vermicomposting. And when you look at this, for maggot and worms, what can you use? It is agricultural or slaughterhouse waste. You can even use sludge from fish farming. We see also that chicken manure is used to feed especially to the black soldier fly larvae. Then we make a meal out of it or we feed them straight to the fish and the chicken. And what we see, there are better yields, and in the end, the consumer will like it when you make also a story out of it. So sometimes they're willing to pay. And I don't know how it works in Nigeria, but in the Western world, yes, people do want to pay for something what's good for the world. And the crickets, it's more that we use agricultural waste together with a little bit of chick mesh, and then we rear the crickets. They go, we fry them or we roast them, and they are also not only as meal, they are appreciated by people. And some tribes of you did eat them already when you were young. I just had a Nigerian platform in The Hague, the Netherlands, came to speak with me, and the lady was really happy when I told her that you could eat crickets. She said, yes, my grandma sent me in the field to catch them, and then we would eat them together. So for now, why Latin America, Africa, or Southeast Asia? And as I said before, it's a perfect climate day and night in many places. When you're on a high altitude, the temperatures can at night lower. Insects are already part of the diet for many African, Asian, or Latin American countries. There's a need of local production of alternative proteins. And at the same time, we see that poultry industry, especially in Nigeria, is increasing enormously. So for that, many of the raw materials, like fish meal, are imported. And then you have the currency fluctuation. Sometimes the Naira is in a free fall. That leads to high feed prices. Then there is another, don't forget this one. There is an import ban on artificial fertilizers. The rest substrate from insects is very interesting to sell as a soil enhancer, as a sort of fertilizer. Then you have a huge availability of organic matter. I can still see the truck who went to the market with the tomatoes, and all the tomatoes were crushed when they came up and not to be sold anymore. Perfect stuff to rear insects on. And we do have a good agreement with Heineken. They are willing to supply us with spent brewers yeast, where they also grow Kraton. Oh, sorry, Heineken is Nigerian breweries. So there is an availability of organic matter. And what I feel very much like, and also I want to appreciate how you introduced me, that entrepreneurial skills, I find them with you in Nigeria. And please take them on if you like to do this job and go into insects. Here you see the black soldier fly larva within a sort of slurry made out of this matter here underneath here. If you want to do this, please do some further reading. They're all available online. And hopefully someone, John, can you put the links to these documents in the app? Because it's a good reading, these books. It's also, look at it from a food safety perspective. That's also very important. The latest book is of the World Bank Group, Insect Farming and hydroponics, a new way of getting income in Africa in a circular way. Then I like to go into starting an insect business and a bit of the marketing of insect products. Here you see some products from Nigeria, from McProtein. You see, proudly made in Nigeria. It is a protein meal, 20 kg. Here you see the net soil. That's the frost, the leftover from the insects. And this is being sold at good prices. I don't know how much now, but I think it's nice to see that. And when we talk about this market situation for insects, it's mainly niche products. For us in the Netherlands, it's pet food and little for human consumption. And I took here, the situation for the Netherlands. Mostly whole insects are sold, live or dried, with high returns per kg, and it's small businesses, only a few big ones. And what you see here is a product what helps to start up the market. And it has a very special claim on it. It's hypoallergenic because of the insects in it. This one is sold at the vet, for dogs, and people are willing to pay this for it at 65 euros for one bag. That's around $65. Don't know the value now, but it's good value for money. What you for the insect farmer, let's say it that way. As as the customer, you pay a lot of money. So what we expect is that future markets are for feed and food, big bulk markets with composite products, insects as ingredients, and lower returns per kg, and industrial production. But, however, we are not there yet. There is only a few companies, around 20 worldwide, who are in industrial production. The rest is really on the scale of mid-size and having 2,000 to 4,000 kg of insects a week. So what is the market potential? I've said it before, but it could be even that you only produce eggs on young larvae and you sell it to your neighbor to fatten them. And then you harvest them and then you bring it to the market. And there's work in larvae processing, in the rearing, in the residue, that's the fertilizer production. So afterwards, when you do this, it needs to be sold. It needs to be stored. So there's jobs everywhere in that. Please look at what you, and then there's coming waste and losses. That's also a job to do. You can collect them and sell them to the insect farmers, or you do it all by yourself. It's a choice. So I think the market potential and job creation potential is huge in this. And still this this ecosystem, how it's going to work, this market system, let's call it that way, needs to be designed, but also it has to start on a larger scale. And this will go step by step, gradually, this market will grow. So I would like to say, when you go into business, a few considerations. Do you want to start an insect farm with the whole cycle, or a reproduction farm where you sell your eggs and the pinheads or 3-day-old larvae? Then you have to consider your location. Which species do you go into? BSF, mealworms or superworms or crickets? Do you want to become a processor, basic processing, development of products, or make finished products for pets, for humans, or as a feed miller? You can start as an aggregator for organic material and substrates, like John and we are technical supplier service providers. No, not technical suppliers, but there is need of crates, there is need of equipment, there is need of mechanization in it. What we do is mainly training and helping you further. The trader is there, storage, logistics, and marketing, and the market outlet. So many jobs to do, but what we see, and this is really to consider, don't do it all by yourself. We see many farmers or many people who are insect farmers doing everything of this, and you cannot do it all by yourself. And then you will not get big because it keeps you small. This is the insect supply chain, how they look at it. Unprocessed waste, it's a bit different. This is how insects contribute to the circular economy of Rabobank. They made a nice report about insects, and they say it's becoming of age. So unprocessed waste of vegetable substrates, feed it to the insects, make a protein out of it, insect oil, or a puree. That's a puree, is a slurry-like thing, or sell the whole larvae. Here you see again the insect fertilizer, and this goes then to pet food or animal feed. This report was, they looked at it from the perspective of feed. Here is one of the products I really like to show you. It is a fish feed, and they gave it even with the extrusion, the form of a larvae. So here they at Altech Koppert, they brought together sustainability, the black soldy fly, the pellet, and then they sold it in this way at good high price. So that was the nice thing of this this pellet. This is what you cannot read, but I like to show you because I like the picture. It is in the Netherlands, we found out that piglets do very well with insect oils in their feed, because when they stop weaning, the diarrhea phase is really much shorter, and it is very good for the gut health. So the antimicrobial particles in the insects are good for the piglets, and then later it will be a healthier pig when it grows up. This is shrimp feeding, made in Indonesia, and here they say it is liquid. It's a slurry-like, where is my thing, with hyaluronic acid, and that means that it is antimicrobial. And that's what here you also see, natural antimicrobial peptides. This is the way it's being sold for shrimps. Shrimps are very vulnerable for diseases, and this is why this sort of new innovative feeding is really important for them. And then the frass. Consider this is 240 kg, costs here in the Netherlands 595 euros. and I calculated, I don't know if this is a while ago, so that is 1,000,000 nairas for 240 kg, so around 4,000 for 1 kg. So that's quite interesting when you look at that. And this is frass from black soldier flies, and they sell it as frassort, and that it's very good for your lawn, but also for vegetables. And what I always like to say, and John really knows this, please, when you sell your products, go to something like Safety Gardens and sell the products what these rich men from Nigeria want to buy, and go there, because it is the best thing in my eyes is to market on these people with money who are willing to pay and to get rid of their guilt that they're destroying the planet, and that we give them that we rob them from their money in an honest way. So this is why I also started with the picture of the eggs with a good story. So storytelling and going to these gardens to sell your frass and make food for their dogs that you say it's a good food. I think that's the way forward to make money. Before I'm going to end this presentation, I like to give you a few tips. And one of the tips is when you start to rear insects, start small with low tech, low invest, because small production is small failures. And I think John can tell about crawl outs. It's not funny when they crawl out of the boxes. They do. Do not start alone, because then you always have to be there to feed your animals, and you cannot go to visit the city or whatever. Please do experiments, experiment a lot. Start together with the ones you do the course with, or where you start with community or association. Also to share knowledge between another, that you all learn from the failures of another, that you can prevent to do it yourself. Keep your records, and food safe products of high quality will always win. And then, and it's a bit connected to the first one, scale only when you own the process. This is what we've seen. It's no fun when you're putting all your time in problem solving instead of having the rhythm of feeding your insects and the rest in the peace in your farm, of having each time the same SOP, standard operating procedure, instead of running from one failure to another. Please do not do that. Our learnings are, insects are new, and that insect farming is rather a logistical system instead of livestock farming. It's different. You need to know what size is, what age group is in what grade, and bringing research into practice. It is words on papers isn't practice, and practical work, that's where you learn. You have to experience. And then the other thing is to get to be known. This is what I like about the Waste for Meal project. They have the weekly webinars. They create awareness for insects, because market entry and opening up the market for insects, I think we need to do this together. Not only Waste for Meal, but all of us, to spread the word of rearing insects. And then again, start up low tech, low invest, go into incubation, collect your general information about insect production, follow a course, start small, as said before, ask for support, and then build your business based on what you found in your small own basic production. Set up your groups and develop your market. I'm really happy to share all this with you. And what you see here, this was this morning, I guess, John. This is one of another group in the Agric Business Incubation Building in Ibadan, pitching his business plan to John and to Tope. So I think going together, alone you go fast, together you come far. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please use your emojis and put thank you on the screen. Let me start seeing clappings and something on the screen for Marian. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma.
Thank you.
I'm curious, who wants to start an insect business?
Thank
we
you.
didn't do a poll.
That's an insect business.
So, thank you, Madam Marian, for that detailed presentation. So it's now time for question and answers. Should you have any question, just raise your hands up and the team will call you. Back to you, Mr. Emmanuel. Please take over from here, coordinating the question and answer session. Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much, Mrs. Marian Peters. We really appreciate for that detailed presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Oba, for this privilege again. Please, if you have any question concerning the presentation tonight, just indicate by raising up your hand, and we'll call you to ask your question. I trust we still have a speaker in the house and other members of this team in the house to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Please, do we have any question?
I'm happy I was clear.
Okay, I have a lot of text here. Let's check of the text box. Okay, people are expressing their gratitude. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you,
Thank you,
all of
thank you.
for listening.
Wow, people are really excited. Oh, Adediji, Ayo Ade, raise a hand. Please, could you go ahead, sir, with your question, Mr. Adediji?
Okay. Good evening to everyone. First of all, I want to sincerely appreciate Madam for this brief and very powerful lecture this evening. The question I want to ask is basically on the temperature. Right now in Nigeria, we have two major seasons. We have the dry season and we have the wet season, which is the rainy season, which definitely has two different temperatures. Is it I don't know how I'm going to put it now. Can we still read this BSF during these seasons, or is there a particular temperature that we need to have before we can achieve all those things? That's the question I want to ask. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question. I think it's a good question because every place is different. The black soldier love 30 degrees almost steadily, 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. And what's happening is when it's getting too hot, that the microclimate in the crate, in the substrate, is going up too high. And then you need ventilation, or when it's in a temperature-controlled environment, then you can play around with it. However, when the temperatures are getting too hot, then you need to cool down and ventilate more. When it's getting too cold, what will happen is that the life cycle, the span of the life cycle will be shorter. And I think I would like to ask John, if he still is there, if he can also respond on this, because you are dealing with it daily.
Yeah, thank you, Marian, for that, for the opportunity. Yeah, good evening. Yeah, regarding the question for the temperature, at least the have in Nigeria or in Africa, majorly we have the rainy season and we have the dry season. The temperature is still not as low as what we have in Europe or in the temperate region. So basically within the ranges of 28 to 35, which is still optimum for us in Nigeria. So exceptionally, when the temperature is now becoming too low, below 20, which is exceptional to have in the country. So basically now we now heat it up, we close up all the window and generate heat internally. And when it is too high, to blow away the heat, and that's how we have been maintaining it. But basically, what we have experienced so far, we have not experienced the exceptionally, too high, exceptionally too high. When we are talking about 50 degrees centigrade, or we have like 10 degrees centigrade in Nigeria, we have not been experienced such.
Thank you, John.
Okay. I have another question here. Someone said, how do we cope with the technicality of the project? How do we cope with the technicality of the project? Well, Marian, do you want to answer this question, or should I respond to it? How do we cope with the technicality of the project?
I think the Waste for Meal is mainly with you, and we are partners in this. And John is ready to assist technically with people who want to start up. We really promote that you do not only start online and reading books, because there's quite some information around. However, when you come to the demo farm, and or with Waste for Meal, or in Ibadan, what is part of the impact cluster we have, I think please sign up and we will make it happen. That would be my answer now. Please take it over from here.
Thank you very much for that answer, Marian. And I need to tell the house, this is what we've been saying over and over again. This training is not ending as online. We are also having practical training. For example, there's a certain group for whom we are going to be setting up a practical training center in Lagos, just a makeshift training center. It was supposed to be in February, but we are shifting it to the end of this project. So when you have finished in March, then we set that up for 1 month or 6 weeks to train people so that you concentrate on one thing per time. Aside this, which is a makeshift, we have a training center in Ibadan. And apart from Ibadan, in Port Harcourt, we had established a training center that will be commissioning in the next 10 working days, fully functional, up to demonstration on oil extraction, drying of the BSF larvae, extraction of oil, purification of oil, and all of it. So you can see all of that. And apart from that, we are also in the process of establishing strong partnership with the Federal College of Forestry in Ibadan and its extensions across 4 other states to set up practical training center. I mean, the discussion had gone to the level of approval, and it's just signing of MOU that is pending. And that's another training center in Oyo State. And also in Lagos State, we also mentioned the location of a farm in Ikorodu, where we can start training before the end of, by first week of April. That place should be open for practical training as well. And this February, we've got another property that should be expected to be functional for training even sometimes in April this year. I mean, realities for us, practical experiences regarding this. Technicality, we will train you on this. Thank you. Hello, please, did you hear the question? Did you get my answer? Let me see the person who asked the question.
Yes,
Nemi
we've
Tamuno,
gotten the
please,
answer,
did
sir.
you? Okay, thank you very much. With this, I think since there are no more questions, we have come to the end of this session. I want to specially thank everybody for being part of this. The virtual lab is a compulsory session, and we recorded these. Some people had actually made excuse because of internet and had apologized. This recording may be made available at the approval of the provost. If the provost approves, then the recording will be available on YouTube. But on YouTube, but just for training purpose, not for general circulation. It's just for internal training purpose. So you can only have the link to watch. And then I want to thank Mr. John and the NGN Nigeria team for being present tonight. I want to thank all the organizers, the program management team. Thank you very much for making this happen.
Recording in progress.
I want to acknowledge the presence of the CEO founder of EBS Services, a major support to this project in Nigeria. Also, thank you very much for your support. And finally, I want to thank you, Mrs. Marian Peters, for finding time to be with us. You have very, very, very busy schedule and all the way from Colombia. And then we are hoping that before 1 year time, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these people who perform very well and are outstanding may also be visiting us in the Netherlands to learn practically and then acquire more knowledge and build better network to become part of our experts for support locally. And of course, we'll make that happen. So thank you very much. Thank you so much. We are very much grateful. Please have a splendid night. And of course, splendid afternoon for you, Marian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a splendid night. And we want to say to you, good night.
Good night.
From
Thank
Nigeria.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you. Good
weekend.
night.
Thank you, Marian.
Good night, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Thank